Good morning and welcome to episode 2 of Tax Tips Tuesdays with Alicia Lowen, myself, from Decimal Accounting Inc. And I did this last week Tuesday. That was my first episode about charitable donations. So if you missed that, then just go check it out on the timeline on my Decimal page. And this is something that I'm going to be doing a live video every Tuesday with my tax tips for you. And what I'm trying to do here is get people thinking about next tax season, because it is now December, getting close to the end of the year, and it's time to start thinking about next year's taxes. I know I'm always thinking about tax season. You might not be, but I am. So I thought it would be kind of fun to do a weekly live video with my tips for you. So the topic for this week's episode is late filing. And I wanted to talk about this now in December because it is actually a lot more common than people might think. Being late on your tax returns is usually not a topic that comes up in discussion with your friends. And so if that's you, you might feel like you're the only person who isn't filing their tax returns on time. And you can be rest assured that you are actually in pretty good company. I get quite a lot of people every year who are a year behind or even a few years behind on their tax returns. So my promise to you is that if you come to me, I will never make you feel stupid or embarrassed about getting behind on your tax returns. This is a problem that has a solution, and I will make it as painless for you as possible. So I have a few reasons for you to file your taxes now if you are a late filer, if you have not yet filed your 2018 personal tax return. So the first reason that it's a good idea to file your late tax return is the child tax benefit. So if you are a parent and you would be receiving, you'd be eligible to receive the child tax benefit, which is actually non-taxable income. And the amount that you would receive is determined by your household income. So if you have not filed your income tax returns, or if one of the parents has not filed their income tax returns, then you're not going to be eligible to receive the child tax benefit. And that's money that you otherwise would be getting tax-free every month. So I strongly encourage you, if you are somebody who has not yet filed and you have children, just being able to collect the child tax benefit is reason enough, because especially for lower income people, the amount of the benefit is really quite high. It's increased quite a lot over the previous system that we had, which was more of a flat rate system. Now it's based on income, and even people with a moderate income will still get a decent amount every month. And so child tax benefit is my number one reason for you to file your late tax returns. Perhaps you're somebody who had a child in 2018, and if you have still not filed your 2018 tax return, then you aren't receiving that benefit yet, and you could be. So for parents of babies born in 2018, definitely you'll want to talk to me and get that sorted out. The next reason, my number 2 reason why you would want to file your late tax returns, especially if you are a few years behind and you're someone who has been working a job where you get a T4 slip, you have taxes taken off of your paychecks every 2 weeks. And in that situation, if you have not yet received letters from CRA, which like a letter that would say, we are requesting that you file your tax return because we haven't received it yet. If you haven't received any letters, you might be thinking that you're kind of getting away with it and you're slipping under the radar. CRA hasn't noticed that you haven't filed your tax returns. When what is likely going on is you may be due a refund, and CRA is not likely to send you letters to demand to file your tax returns if you are supposed to be getting a refund. So I have seen this situation before with people who are a few years behind and they have T4 income, so employment income. They may actually be due a refund. And so sitting on it and not filing your tax returns means you're not able to collect that refund money. And of course, CRA is not going to get on your case to file it because they're not itching to hand that money over to you. So I would encourage you, especially if you're somebody who works a job and has a T4, you're not a self-employed person, for that reason, it's a good idea to get your tax returns caught up, because it's possible that you have refund money sitting there to collect. And then my third reason for you to file your late tax returns is if you are a self-employed person. And so this happens often with people who are running sole proprietor businesses. You know, you're busy running your business. Maybe you didn't have proper bookkeeping set up throughout the year. You thought you were going to get on it in the first year, and just things got busy. You got overwhelmed. It didn't happen. That snowballs into a second year, maybe even a third year. Now you're in a bit of a pickle, and maybe it's kind of embarrassing for you, and you're worried about having to talk to an accountant and get this mess sorted out, and you're feeling a lot of stress about that. So I understand that for sure. I am someone who can help you with that stress because my system is very easy, and you're not the only one who has been in this situation. So I don't want to get all doom and gloom on you, but the reality of the situation is it's one of those things that the sooner the better. If you are postponing it, then now this is your wake-up call message to stop postponing it. December, January is a great time to get caught up on your late returns. And I have seen people get into pretty bad situations where they have to remortgage their house because they have a large CRA debt. And the way that that happens is if you ignore it and you let it snowball over a few years, it can get to the point of not being able to pay because now that amount has been compounded. So if you are running a sole proprietor business, you're going to want to get caught up as soon as possible. My recommendation is, of course, in the very first year that you start a brand new business, hire a bookkeeper, hire an accountant. These people will help you to stay on track and stay on top of these responsibilities. And if you are not able to pay the tax all up front, it's still better to at least file the tax returns on time because you'll avoid a late filing penalty. And so this is potentially a few hundred or a few thousand extra dollars that CRA would charge you just for missing the deadline. So my recommendation for you is your deadline is going to be April 30th if you are an individual, and then it's June 15th if you are a sole proprietor business, or if your spouse has a sole proprietor business, then you have the June 15th deadline as well, even if you are not a self-employed person. So if either person in the couple is self-employed, then June 15th is the deadline. So my recommendation is if you can meet that June 15th deadline, even if you don't have the money to pay all the tax by June 15th, you can at least avoid the late filing penalty. And then you can set up a monthly payment plan and just work on paying it down over the rest of the year. And that's going to work out as a less costly situation for you because you're not paying that penalty. So those are my 3 tax tips for late filers. Number 1 is if you're a parent, make sure you file to get your child tax benefit. There is potentially money sitting there that's ready to come to you from CRA. If you haven't filed and you are just a person working a job with T4 income, employment income, then you could possibly be getting a refund. I've seen that situation happen many times, so reach out to me about that. And then my number 3 is if you are a self-employed person, to file your tax return on time, even if you can't pay, means that you're avoiding the late filing tax penalty. And in my last week's episode, I got cut off a little bit early. I had a computer problem, so I covered everything that I wanted to cover, but I just wanted to give you some more information about what my process is during tax season in case you're thinking of reaching out. We have an entirely online and paperless system for tax preparation. I don't know of any other local firms that are doing tax returns paperlessly. And because it's online, that means that we can serve clients across Canada. So we currently have tax clients in BC, Alberta, Yukon, and Ontario. One of my clients yesterday said they're potentially moving to Nova Scotia and said, can you still be our accountant? And I said, yes, absolutely. There's no problem there because it's entirely online and paperless. What I do is I set up a tax checklist through my website. It's a shared web portal that is an encrypted site. I set up a tax checklist that is customized for each person. So I spend a lot of time doing this at the beginning of tax season because I'm trying to provide that extra value to my clients and give them a list of questions, give them a list of documents that are exactly what I need so they know what to get. And then it can be responded to from a computer or even from your mobile phone. So if you're someone who has T4s, RRSPs, other slips, you can actually be responding to this tax checklist from your phone using a button that is a paperclip attachment, taking a picture of your T4 slips with your phone and sending all the information to me securely that way. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, then reach out to me, Alicia Lowen at Deximal Accounting, and tune in next week for another Tax Tips Tuesday. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.